I want to ask you both, and Tommy, I want you to chime in here as well. A big topic of discussion around the NBA this week was the NBA top 75 list that was released in three parts, which was super weird, but that's a whole nother discussion. If you guys could each, without taking a player off, I don't want to knock any player, but if you guys could each name one player that you think should have been on that top 75 list, who would that be? Davion, let's start with you.
Klay Thompson.
Boom.
Klay Thompson, 100%. He's a guy that doesn't need to dribble the ball. He can dribble the ball. He can make plays. He can shoot with the best of them. So I don't see why he didn't make the list, to be honest.
All right, Tyrese.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard.
Gotta be Dwight. Accolade-wise, he's one of the best bigs to ever play the game. At one point, I really think that he was like in MVP discussions with LeBron in the same year, right? Like going toe-to-toe with LeBron and Kobe for MVP. And he's got the same accolades as a lot of dudes on that list. So I'm saying Dwight Howard.
Were you surprised, JJ? I have a name, but I'm questioning whether you were surprised he wasn't on it.
I was shocked.
As someone who played with him at the peak.
People forget how good Dwight Howard's prime was. Some of it is because of the perception around his personality, how things turned out with the Lakers, then Houston, then Charlotte. And he's now turned himself into a very valuable role player. But Dwight was 8 times All-NBA. In 2011, LeBron's first year in Miami, Dwight was second in the MVP voting to Derrick Rose. Honestly, by all advanced metrics, he should have been MVP that year. Is there any other MVP? Derrick Rose was not on there. Jokic was not on there.
I was going to say Rose and Jokic. Rose was going to be mine. And
yeah.
I can understand why he's not on there, but
his peak, I don't think his peak was long enough, where Dwight's peak was long enough. The other thing I would say is this is something that we need to sort of address, and that's that the top 75 list is based on historical context. So I watched some film of Dolph Schayes. Dolph Schayes never shot more than 40% from the field. He was a sharpshooter back in the day. He shot 38% from the field every fucking year. And you're telling me that Kyrie Irving or T-Mac or Vince Carter weren't better basketball players than Dolph Schayes? Fuck no. They were better basketball players than Dolph Schayes. But in the context of his era, he was one of the greatest players ever. And so I think it's important to note that. Like Kyrie Irving is easily one of the 75 most skilled basketball players ever. But given the context of, whether it's Dolph Schayes or Bill Russell or Dave DeBusschere from the Knicks, when he won a championship with the Knicks in 71, there's just so many things that have happened in the course of 75 years that we have to at least acknowledge and account and commend what these old heads did. And that's fine. But honestly, like Kevin Love is better than probably 99% of the power forwards that made that list. That's a fact.
True. That's fair.
The only other two I was going to bring up before we go to the mailbag, and I'm not even arguing for them as much as it's a question, is Ginobili and Tony Parker, and if the championships mean anything in terms of being a part of one of these lists.
I think they're in the same sort of, Tyrese, you can chime in here, but I think they're sort of in the same bucket as Klay, where so much of their accolades and recognition are based on team success. I personally was shocked that neither one of them made the top 75 list, to be honest, meaning Manu and Tony. But I do think they and Klay and a number of other guys benefited from their team success. Whereas, Kyrie's won a championship, but Kyrie sort of is all about the individual greatness.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of dudes left off, and I think the majority of the people who are watching the game today or have voices, have recency bias. But I do think that guys like T-Mac, Vince Carter, Kyrie, Klay, Dwight, I think those are all automatic locks for me. But, like you said, it's about the historical context. So I understand it's not an easy decision to make. And I think it's hard to – there's no way they were going to make a top 75 list and somebody not be mad. So,
top 76 list. Yeah. Top 76 list.
My bad.
They put in 76 players.
It's the internet. People are always mad.